Well, are
I
you
was gonna
ready
say maybe
to...
for our 100th episode, but I think we may be past 100 now, aren't we?
No, we're not up to 100 yet. We're only into the upper 70s. I think
Oh, well then I'm a liar.
78 was the last episode.
Oh, fair. Yeah, I say we get into this thing, man.
All right. Well, I am going to see if our board will cooperate with us tonight and bring up the new bumper. Dads Meet World, watching Boy Meets World. We grew up on the show, now we have kids and host a podcast. We watch each episode and then share our thoughts and grades when these dads meet world.
They want you to take the rolls.
Yes, eat those rolls or cookies if you're on Tyler's end of the call. Welcome back to Dads Meet World, a weekly podcast where we dive in and dive deep and explore the world of Corey Matthews and his friends. And we do it from the eyes of a dad, even though we both grew up on the show. I am dad number 1 this week, Brett.
And I am dad number 2 this week, Tyler. I need to adjust my lights real quick. Hold on. Keep talking.
Well, Christmas has come and gone, and we're recording in between Christmas and New Year's. So we are getting ready for a brand new year. And hopefully, good-looking people, you had a great Christmas, and you're getting ready for a wonderful New Year. I'll tell you what's been going on here. Tyler, how was your Christmas?
Christmas was good. A little chaotic, because Christmas always got to be a little chaotic. But no, we had a good time. People got the gifts that they were hoping for and dreaming of. And Henry didn't eat paper, at least didn't consume it, but he did nibble on quite a bit of it. But had our special breakfast, and everyone, got to relax for a little bit. So I'd say it was a good Christmas overall. How was your Christmas?
Christmas was good. Nice and excited for the kids. Well, exciting for the kids. Asher still has the magic of Santa Claus. Santa fills the stockings at our house, and we put the presents under the tree. And Asher left out cookies and milk. Gigantic mug of milk that was consumed by Santa. And watched Christmas Vacation while we wrapped presents Christmas Eve, as Kelly and I always do. Kids loved everything they got. Yes, none of them ate paper, thankfully.
Oh, good. I hope so.
Granted, the youngest one is 9, so I hope none of them ate paper.
Yeah.
But yeah, and had a lot of other family over, grandparents, well, my parents and sister and cousins and brother over Christmas afternoon. And now we turn our attentions to New Year's Eve.
Very nice.
Any big plans?
Now, do you guys do Elf on the Shelf?
We don't, no. Growing up, my parents told me that we had an elf at our house that was invisible named Poindexter who would report back to Santa for us, but that was pre-Elf on the Shelf.
Wow.
But we don't do anything like that for our house, no.
Okay.
I did see there was a post that Sarah put up that your elf finally got into some naughtiness.
Oh, yes. Our Elf on the Shelf is named Elfie. We got him during the midst of the pandemic because we needed some joy in our house. And just ever since then, he's just a part of our Christmas tradition, and we love seeing the joy every time he moves around and he gets into mischief, and just you never know what that little elf's going to do. We keep wondering if Santa's going to send a helper elf next year, but we're not sure if that's going to happen or not.
I was in Walmart a few weeks back and saw Snoop on the stoop.
I did see that as well.
He could hang out with Elfie.
No, he cannot. Anywho, we should probably get into this episode, Brett.
We should. Good looking people, we're going to look at the 20th episode. Yes, after this, there's only 2 more for season 3. 20th episode is season 3, entitled I Never Sang for My Legal Guardian, in which Jonathan decides he's finally ready to assume responsibility as Shawn's legal guardian. But Shawn only wants to be with his father, Chet. Corey and Topanga search for Chet, but Corey becomes distracted when he catches the attentions of a woman. Meanwhile, Mr. Feeney strong-arms Eric into tutoring the school's star athlete, Jeff. This episode was written by Kevin Kelton, directed by David Traynor, originally aired on May 3rd, 1996, and has an IMDb currently of 7.6.
Seems low.
And now, let's see if we can get the vast emotional damage theme to play for America's favorite theme
Vast emotional damage.
game show. It's Vast Emotional Damage, Tyler's favorite game show, wherein I just demand he guess a random number in the millions for how many people tuned in to this episode the first time it aired. So Tyler, last week's episode had 13.2 million people tune in. How many million do you think tuned into this one?
There's got to be a bump up. I'm going to go with 15.
15? Well, you would still win the showcase, but there was actually a drop to 11.4.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm not sure what was going on in the beginning of May in 96 that would have attracted attention other than, hey, kids, go outside and play. But,
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
we had a drop of almost
I know
2
that-
million.
That the NBA's, like their playoffs start around this time, so if they're just hitting Friday nights when people are watching the basketball game instead of watching Boy Meets World as a family, that's understandable.
It's very possible. I'm not sure who was televising NBA playoff basketball back in 96, but I'm sure TBS was.
I have some deep dives about some things going on in pop culture that we'll get to for our season wrap-up, so I'm really excited about that.
All right.
Spoiler.
Well, let's dive right in. We're going to start out in the hallway where Shawn is checking messages on his and Turner's answering machine, and he can't remember the secret code to log in.
Well, hold on, Brett. We need to go back for a moment. I think we've done this before, but let's just in case, old technology people. So you use a payphone. It's like a cell phone, except it's attached to a wall, and you got to put little coins in it in order to make it work. You call a machine, and the machine, if you put the code in, will tell you what the messages are. You can't just pull up your phone, hit the button that says, Mom called you, call Mom back. Yes. You got to actually put in a lot more effort to find out that Mom's looking for you.
Answering machines and payphones walked so that your iPhone could run.
Yes.
So anyway,
Exactly.
Miss Turner walks out of I'm assuming the bathroom at this part of the school. And Shawn wants to see
principal's office, guidance counselor's office.
Could be
classroom,
anything depending on the week.
Closet.
We find out
It's all the
Corey.
same.
Yeah, we found out Corey knows the secret code because that's actually Mr. Turner's bank card code. And Corey owes him $40.
Turner does feel like the type of guy who would have the same code for everything.
He'd have the same password for all of his stuff that he logs into, and yeah, he strikes me as that guy.
Yeah, but also Corey is the type of person that pays attention. I don't know how he got $40 out of his account without the actual card, but the 90s.
Well, it implies that at some point he and Shawn had Turner's card on them because you couldn't get money out of the ATM without the card.
Correct.
Yes.
For young people that don't know, an ATM.
Well, those are still around.
Actually, we know about that. Yes, we know about those.
ATMs walked and ran so that PayPal and Cash App could run.
And ATM machines could really work hard.
ATM time, alien time machines. So Chet's still MIA because there's no message from Chet. He's still out on the road searching for Verna, and John lets Corey know that the calls and the letters, they're getting fewer and farther in between, and we get a little bit of a message from Corey to a little bit of a plea from Corey to John. And I didn't even bother with videos this week. They're just all audio clips because I didn't want to mess with
Well, that's fine.
Mr. Turner, we got a big problem with Shawn. I mean, this one goes way beyond puberty.
You mean puberty?
Yeah, puberty.
It's one of my
I
all-time
knew you would do that
quotes.
one alone. Just, my gosh.
Puberty. It's one of my all-time favorites. But Corey knows there's something bothering his buddy. He knows that he needs his dad. But Turner reveals to Corey that Chet sent the paperwork a couple months ago to make himself Shawn's legal guardian. And he's just been sitting on it.
Yeah.
So we know Chet's planning to be gone for the long haul. Chet has no intentions of coming back anytime soon. So
This is our requisite Shawn episode for the season. True of where Shawn is and how Shawn doing. So, and this is one of those where Corey's kind of just the passenger in this episode. I do like that sometimes.
I do.
It allows Corey to
do
be
pretty
more
well
than
with
just
those ones.
him.
Yeah. And Shawn, I like Corey's role as the passenger is a lot of fun in this one too. It's fun, Corey.
Yeah. And I don't remember where, but I know in the beginning of this episode they talk about how last they knew he was around Ohio, which, that's where Brett is from. It's this big state of Ohio. And just so you know, people, depending on where in Ohio Chet may have been posted, it's still going to be a nice long drive to get to Philadelphia, because Philadelphia is all the way on the east side of PA, and several of the big cities and a lot of the big stops around Ohio, you're still looking at 2 to 3 hours going through Ohio, and then additionally another 6 to get to Philadelphia. So,
Oh yeah, even just a straight shot, it's going to take you 4 or 5 hours just to drive from one side of Ohio to the other.
yeah.
And
Even though I'm
taking
from
freeway.
PA, I've not spent a lot of time in Philadelphia for that reason. It's a journey.
So we're gonna fade out, come back into the Turner's apartment because Shawn and Turner have been out doing some apartment hunting, and Shawn doesn't like anything.
This
they see.
episode moves fast.
It does. It is a furious pace. And Corey's going to go all old man on him. He really wants to sell a place for apparently he's become a realtor. He's taken after his mom. He's carrying around this book of carpet samples.
I mean, Corey out of nowhere becomes whatever he needs to be for the joke, but you see him have this passion for this, trying to get them to make a deal and to get into an apartment, and we'll see this again next season.
Yep. And at one point here in this episode, he's done a dance and he's got an extra half day for them to make a decision on a townhouse. But yeah.
I don't know. You ever feel like Corey wasted his time by becoming a teacher? I do.
Yeah, sometimes. Not that teaching is not a noble profession, but with the background that we have for Corey, I think he probably did waste some of his time going into that field. He was probably meant for different things.
You mean because there's easily 2 other characters that would have a much better character arc to go from bad students to good teachers? I agree.
Yeah, much more rewarding and fulfilling character arcs.
Yeah.
So we're going to get Eli coming in, kind of creeped out by Mrs. Dubček. We get some more mocking of Eli and his dating life.
Yes. Well, apparently she is over the death of her husband, and now she's ready to mingle.
Yeah, she's single, ready to mingle, and she's got her sights set on him. And, Turner says, hey, we're going to move out as soon as Shawn finds a place. Shawn doesn't like that people are talking about him like he's not there, so he's going to leave. And Corey chases him out the door with linoleum samples that are going to knock his socks off.
I got linoleum's going to knock your socks off.
And then we're going to go and check in on Eric's B story for the episode, where he's Mr. Feeney wants to work with him because Eric's latest paper is a D. He worked really hard on it. And we learned something in this conversation about Eric that tends to go it tends to be forgotten about. Apparently, Eric took a ride in the dryer in 5th grade. And
yes.
Before that, his hair was apparently like Corey's.
Yes. Brett, I did not do a deep dive on if your hair can change like that from the dryer. It's a good joke, but there's no way that's possible.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's just a joke. I think Eric was always blessed with good hair.
Yeah. And, hey, with each kid, their hair can be completely different, so that's genetics, man.
But we get this interaction between Eric and Mr. Feeney.
Come on, Mr. Feeney, you know how hard I've been working lately. This grade's gonna kill my average. Can I do another paper?
I have a better idea. Tutoring.
Well, I thought all the tutors got together and agreed to never work with me again.
Oh, indeed they did. My thought was to make you a tutor.
Mr. Feeney, when'd you take your ride in the dryer?
Do you know Jeff Lacey?
Yeah, he's a guard in the basketball team.
Mr. Lacey has athletic scholarship offers to 20 colleges, but he needs at least a C average to get in.
Okay, so I tutor this kid, help him get into college, he turns pro, makes millions. What do I get out of this?
The joy of helping someone learn.
But no money.
You get used to it.
Yeah, I don't see a downside to the plan. I mean, It's not a bad plan in and of itself. You spend time tutoring someone else, and you're bound to pick up something along the way. So worst case scenario, you both learn a little bit. Best case scenario, you both learn a chunk.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So Eric's going to become a tutor. And he's going to tutor the star point guard or center? I forget now.
I think it's point guard, yeah, but it doesn't really matter.
He's a basketball player, that's all. And he is going to be
jock.
Tyler's favorite caricature of an athlete, a jock.
Yeah.
So we're going to peek back in on Corey and Shawn. This is where Corey done his dance to get Turner and Shawn an extra half a day to decide on that townhouse. But Shawn really he wants his next move to be his last move. He's done being a nomad and being just in so much transition in his life. He wants to move one more time and have it be the last time he has to move.
Yeah. At least while he's still in school.
Yeah, he's ready to have roots and be able to be, as Eddie would have said, built in, so to speak, even if it's just figuratively, and back with dad and mom, even just dad back at the trailer park in his own home.
Yeah, which is fair. I mean, as nice as it is that he gets to live with Turner, and as much as he cares about him, as much as Turner loves him as well, there's a reason he waits so long to fill out the not adoption, but the legal guardian form. Yeah. Yeah, and in fact, let's just go ahead and dive right into that, because Shawn and John, they're going to get together over the island in the kitchen. Shawn is going to see that there's a letter for him, and I believe I've got some of that in my next clip here.
It's 50 miles from here, John. I mean, the least he could do is come visit me.
Hey, Shawn, I spoke to an attorney today. A couple of signatures, and I'm your legal guardian.
I thought you did that months ago.
Well, I got the forms, I just never got around to filling them out.
Got around to filling them out? I'm so sorry my life didn't fit into your busy schedule.
Whoa, Shawn, hey, cut me some slack. I'm just trying to do the right thing here.
Yeah, Yeah, I know you are. Hey, enjoy your date.
Shawn is just tired of he's a visitor in his own life. He's tired of it, and I mean, John kind of drops the ball with using the language of getting around to it, but he's been dragging his feet because he's not ready. That's not his place yet. That's not where he is yet.
Well, and part of the problem in this whole scenario, regardless, is that as a parent, you mess up and say the wrong thing. I feel like at this point, every day, at least 17 times. Where, like, just the other day, Sarah and I were, like, we were snuggling as a family, and then the boys left the couch, and then Sarah, like, just came in and snuggled into my arm. I was like, oh my gosh, nice. We get to snuggle for once. Just us. And then Grayson came and, like, plopped himself right on top of her. And I was like, hey, this is an A and B snuggle. See your way out. And he thought I said that he is not loved and we don't care about you. And I'm like, that's not what was said. But, you know, kids are going to respond with emotions, and no matter what you try to do, you will mess up and say the wrong thing. The problem is, I just don't think that Turner can accept that he messes up in these ways. And that the two of them, like, the moment there's any sort of misunderstanding of what they mean, it's immediate of, well, fine, I'm done with you. And so as much as they love each other, they're bringing their brokenness from their families, and it's not meshing for them to be their own family unit.
Yeah.
So
they're fine for short term, but they're not made to be together long term as a long term family answer.
Well, and John didn't have a good example of what it means to be a father without, you know, throwing money in people's faces and, you know, putting power into place. And he's found a way as a teacher to not do that, but as being at home, that's a much different struggle.
Yep.
So, yeah, this is a tough episode for that reason of what you hoped and thought was going to be this, I don't know, saving Shawn from being poor and being miserable in the trailer park really turned into it's going on too long, and we both need to agree to that.
Yeah. I mean, it met very real physical needs at the time, but it can't meet his emotional needs that he has and the needs he has for having his father there.
Yep.
Yeah. And so, and I give the show major props for not sweeping all that under the rug and treating it as if this would have been an easy fix, and for diving into this, because that would not be an easy fix in the real world.
Yeah. I agree.
So
it's one of the things that makes this show different than so many other shows at this time is dealing with the actual realities.
Yep. Boys
So,
meet
as
in real
ridiculous
world.
as some characters can be, the fact is that these two people are not meant to be a family.
No. Good friends, but and
Well,
at one point
brothers
he
even.
draws at one point he draws the distinction that Turner's been a good friend, a great friend, but he draws the distinction at friend.
Yep.
So we're gonna meet Jeff. And Jeff, I have written on here, he is so many O's. Dumb. But he has a Porsche.
Yes.
And Jeff
He has a
is
Porsche.
played by actor Bobby Jacoby, or Jacoby. I'm not sure how he pronounces his last name. First and only time we'll see him on Boy Meets World. 84 credits on his resume. He showed up in shows like The Greatest American Hero, Manimal, Hardcastle and McCormick, The Love Boat, The A-Team, Kids Incorporated, Perfect Strangers, Who's the Boss, The Wonder Years, Charles in Charge, Tremors, Baywatch, Walker, Texas Ranger, and a lot more. And it's just Eric is he's making no headway with Jeff, and so ultimately they decide to go out and ride around in Jeff's Porsche. And when Eric comes back home, we get this.
What a waste of a night. I just spent 3 hours speeding around in a Porsche with a pretty girl in my lap.
I hate when that happens.
What do you know that has a Porsche?
Oh, you didn't hear? The school's All-American point guard is being tutored by the school's All-American cheesehead.
Corey, get the phone.
I didn't hear it ringing.
Oh!
I'll get it.
Eric, the tutor. I'm proud, yet confused.
Can we be sued?
Hey, Mrs. Matthews, Mr. Matthews. Can you guys leave?
No.
Dang, I need another plan.
Shawn, let's just go outside.
Man, you are good on your feet. Corey, now that your parents have left the room, I gotta ask you something. What are you doing tonight?
Well, I'm showing a 3-bedroom at 7:30, but after that, I'm free as a bird.
Cool, because we're going to see my dad.
That is a... There's just so much in there that I love.
There is. Spent 3 hours with a girl sitting on my lap in a Porsche. I hate when that happens.
Yeah. And Corey, get the phone. Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Matthews. Can you leave?
No. Dang.
We'll just go outside. Man, you're quick on your feet.
Yeah, it's like they know they're in a TV show.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Not.
Shawn's lines were, Mrs. and Mr. Matthews, can you please leave? And if they didn't say yes, then he's going to go, huh? Now what?
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, Shawn reveals that he knows where his dad is, and it's only going to take, it's only 50 miles away. It's not that far by motorcycle. Well, can Turner get both of us on his bike? No, it's just you and me. And Corey has the presence of mind to say, no, I can't go. That's a bridge too far. Probably thinking in his mind, okay, if I'm not in for this, maybe Shawn will just not go through with it. But Shawn's question of what's the worst that can happen is sitcom code for next comes the jail cell, as Shawn gets his one phone call. And the next thing we know is that he and John are walking in the door to the apartment, and we get another conversation that's got a lot to it.
Oh, so that's why you're so upset. You don't want to be legally responsible for me.
That's a cheap shot, and you know it.
Yeah? Then why'd you take your sweet time to file for guardianship?
Is that what this is about?
It's what everything's about, John. It's my life. I mean, you've got your life. My dad's got his life. I just feel like I've got nothing.
Shawn, if you'd have wanted to see your dad, I could have taken you.
It's more than that, John. I'm just tired of feeling like a guest wherever I go.
I know. Look, Shawn, this hasn't been the easiest year for me either. I mean, going from a single guy to raising a 15-year-old was not on my to-do list.
Great. So we're both on each other's nerves.
Well, I don't know, Shawn. I mean, I offered to get us a bigger place. You don't want any part of it.
Yeah, well, you've had the guardianship papers for months and you still haven't filled them out yet.
I don't know. Maybe we're both afraid to make this living arrangement permanent.
And so we've got honest, no holds barred, honest discussion between these two. Yep. And they finally get to the root of everything that they've kind of been dancing around. Mm-hmm. They've both been holding back. They're both afraid to go forward and make this arrangement more than what it is. And they both have their very valid reasons.
Yep. That's true. I mean, we've seen throughout this season, Turner's still going on dates. Turner still has a pretty active social life, even though he has Shawn. And to be honest with you, the way they show it is if Shawn's kind of almost always doing his own thing anyway. So it's not like he's really around a whole lot. So I don't know. I think 15 is the perfect age to adopt someone, really.
Yeah, they've already gone through all that other stuff. All you got to deal with is puberty.
Yeah, the puberty. Oh, Corey.
But,
of course, the next line that Corey says is just old man material as well.
I have more
Good news,
Corey
Core.
being old
Shawn,
in my
there is no
notes.
such thing as good news before I've had my grape nuts.
Yes, Sean's answer to all of this is he's going to move in with his Uncle Mike at the trailer park where he's surrounded by family and by the FBI agents who surround them.
Yes. I mean, we did ask, at the beginning of or the end of last season, why doesn't he just move into with someone, at the trailer park? But oh well.
And we'll find out soon enough why that probably was a bad idea.
That's
but
true.
we're gonna pop in at breakfast with Alan and Amy. Eric's gonna see he's so frustrated with Jeff because he's working very hard. Jeff's burping through his ears. Eric wants to see if he has any untapped potential that could get him scholarship. Throws an apple through the window when he tries to aim for the sink. He shoots. He sucks. He pays. That's so much fun.
But before that, I do like that, Amy's trying to ask just a simple question, and Eric's response is, nag, 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 what are you, my mom?
Yes.
Yes, and what a
it's
joy
such
it
a
is.
joy. Yeah. So Eric's out. Corey's in. Wants to know what they're going to do with the room when Eric's off to college. And Alan talks to him as a dad how he would want to be consulted about his son's future before any big changes are made. And he was part of that discussion with Chet and with John about what to do because Chet originally wanted Shawn to stay with them full time after that
Yep.
that temporary stretch last season. Good looking people, if you think back to the end of season 2 over a span of a couple episodes, which spanned a few weeks in between, Shawn stayed with the Matthews, and it didn't work out so well. But all of this comes together to convince Corey that he and Topanga should take a bus out to this truck stop and try to find Chet and talk to him. I think it's smart they took a bus.
It is.
Very smart.
But did their parents know?
I'm thinking at least the Matthews were not filled in.
Uh-huh.
I don't know about Jedediah, and at this point I think it's still Chloe.
I don't think so either.
Yeah. But Corey is just very out of place, but he's brave enough to talk to the guys shooting pool that he could very easily be pounded by and at least get his nose chalked because he didn't chalk it before leaving the house.
Brett, this is the part of the episode that gives me a little willies because these are full-grown adults that are interacting with this teenager, a very noticeable teenager, in a way that I go, do you not know he's a teenager? Like, you are being super weird. And I get it. It's a bar. It's a tough guy thing. It's a truck stop. But, like, you're kind of being inappropriate.
Yeah. You got the tough guys at the pool table. And then you've got Luann, played by Bobby Phillips.
Yes.
First and only time we'll see her here on Boy Meets World. 54 credits on her resume. Married with Children, Matlock, Baywatch, The X-Files, Murder One, The Cape, Stargate SG-1, 7 Days, Dharma and Greg, and more. She's going to come on to Corey, and I'm guessing trying to make her boyfriend jealous, but either way, yes, it raises the ick factor, and Corey, of course, is...
I feel like the show wants you to think this woman is like 20, 21, 22 maybe, something like that. Not too far off of 18. Corey's, getting close to that marker. But, not to shame anyone, but at the time of filming and release, she was in her, mid-late 20s. She's, 26. So I'm pretty sure she's closer to Turner's age than Corey's age.
Oh, undoubtedly. Yeah.
So, but outside of that, I get it. Hollywood is what it is.
Yeah. They're going for the joke. Corey's all, ooh, tingle. Yeah. Corey's reaction is, within the context, funny. But still, the ick factor's there.
Well, but I will say TV as a whole, though, they've always had these weird episodes of these one-off older women that come in and interact with the male lead and teach them something or so on and so forth. And it's always weird and creepy and shouldn't be a thing. And I think we have course-corrected a little bit away from family sitcoms having those type of characters. But, yeah. Looking back at it as a adult gives me the ick.
It doesn't age too well when you look back on it and think, yeah. But we get comments from her to Topanga like, I found him first. You want to step outside. Corey is excited. He thinks there's going to be a cat fight. And that's when Chet actually recognizes him as someone.
Cortez.
And we get Cortez. We get him and Chet sitting down and Corky. I love the fact that he calls him Corky. But they're going to sit down. And we learn a few things in this conversation. First of all, Turner's sending all kinds of stuff to Chet. He sent him report cards, pictures. He sent him at least one picture of Shawn with Dana, who we don't know how long they dated. We only saw her for 2 episodes, and then she'll come back later for an episode down the road. But he's being kept in the loop very well by Jonathan.
Yep.
And we also find out that Chet does not believe that he's right for Shawn right now. And his comment is, I love him so much, I can't go back. That it kind of implies that he's not good enough for Shawn. And that's why he left him with Jonathan. And he was pretty clear back at the end of last season that he's not good enough without Verna, that he needs Verna to be there for Shawn with him. He's always kind of seen himself as not good enough to be there just by himself with Shawn. So that's kind of where we leave it at the truck stop. And then we come back to school.
I do love that in this moment, Corey says his piece, and Chet's fighting him the whole way and making good points on why he is not fit to be the father of Shawn, essentially. Like, he loves him so much, he recognizes, I'm not a good dad, and he's better off without me. Shawn, I'm guessing, is getting probably the best grades he's ever gotten. And so he's like, hey, he's doing better in school. He has better relationships. Like, Turner is the dad that Shawn needs. At least that's what he thinks. But the dad he needs is his dad.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Chet has not been a great dad to this point.
No.
He is not. His track record is not good at all.
Yes.
Yeah. But we're going to go back to the school. We're going to check in with Eric and Mr. Feeney.
I mean, you know better than anybody else that you can't teach somebody if they don't want to learn.
Well, how do you explain this?
You gave Jeff a C+?
No. You did.
I don't know what to say. I thought the guy was a total lost cause.
I don't believe in lost causes. I think this is yours.
Oh, wait, Mr. Feeney, you didn't finish your sentence here. You just put A. A what?
That's your grade, Eric.
It is? It is? Mr. Feeney, as I stand here in front of you, my fellow students, the entire faculty, I must say that...
Oh, give it up, man. It's just one test. However, congratulations.
Hey, wait, Mr. Feeney. This was your plan all along? I teach Jeff, but really I teach myself? He does better, I do better? Mr. Feeney, you sly dog.
Got lucky on that one.
Yep, and we see it. All that work that Mr. Feeney set Eric up to pays off. Eric actually nails an A, Jeff a C+. Got lucky on that one.
Yeah, he did.
But I love the congratulations he gives Eric. It was just one test. However, congratulations. It's the encouragement that Eric needs to hear.
Well, we've seen before of when Eric has had success in school, but it was not earned. And this is earned. And so often, we see it, especially in the beginning episode, he works hard on something but still doesn't get a good grade, and he gets frustrated. So the fact that this time he worked hard and got the grade to go along with it is huge.
Yep. So let's hop over to the, I'm going to assume, county lockup, because Shawn is sitting in lockup. Apparently a cop picked him up in the park because Uncle Mike's trailer wasn't there, and so he was sleeping on a bench. And Chet comes walking in. And so Shawn and Chet get their reunion. And apparently Corey's words meant something to Chet, because he'll tell Jonathan in a few minutes that he was on his way to see him when he ran into a speed trap with a bunch of unpaid parking tickets. That's what he's doing there. But Chet wants to get Shawn back to Turner's. He was coming to see him, but he wasn't coming to step back in as dad. And so Chet and Shawn are going to have this conversation right here in lockup.
Maybe you could stick around here for a while.
There ain't nothing in this town for me.
Yeah, there is. Me.
Shawn, I left you with Turner's because in my mind it was a better place.
I know it was a good place, Dad, but I wouldn't call it better. It wasn't with you. It wasn't home.
I don't know, Shawn.
Come on, Dad. I'm right here. No chasing. Besides, I need you. And I'm thinking you need me.
Well, if you remember, I ain't much of a cook.
Can't be any worse than Mom.
Ain't that the truth? Shawn, I'm gonna do something I haven't done since you were a very little boy.
Get a job?
Heck no, something better.
We get to end with Chet giving Shawn a hug, and it's not clear whether it's the hug or it's sticking around that Chet's gonna do, but I like to interpret that it's the hug, that Shawn hasn't had a lot of physical love from his dad. That hug, that pat on the back.
Yeah, there's
Shawn,
very strong indications of that.
Yeah, but Shawn is able to finally get his dad in a room where his dad can't run away.
Right. Well, or hide behind other people.
And it's just them. Nothing can get in between them. They can't escape each other. And Shawn's able to finally just say what he needs to say, and it's what Chet needs to hear.
Yeah.
And so
Exactly.
Chet's going to stick around. John's going to come in to bail Shawn out and get shocked to see Chet there, who, of course, is going to get bailed out by John as well, because Chet's going to stick around. He's letting him know that.
Good.
Yeah. And John and Shawn have a sidebar where they talk to each other about how this is what Shawn wants, and they said it was just temporary, but John says I'd do it again. And I think he really means it.
Yeah. Well, and who's to say that if after the show ended that he didn't end up becoming roommates with him again? You know, because there's always a possibility. Who knows? For him to stay in his life. But no, it's a good ending to the story that they started last year at the end.
Yep.
Of him coming and living with him, and them trying to deal with what does that mean, and almost getting comfortable with the status quo, so much so that it's almost like when you're dating someone, of taking the relationship to the next level, and they just couldn't do it. So, as we said, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. But for a time, it was what Shawn needed, but it wasn't what he needed forever. So, Chet's going to help Shawn move out of Turner's. And they got to move before their home gets the Denver boot. He yells at some kids to get off his front porch. Shawn's going to invite Corey to his house for dinner, which, of course, Corey's going to have to cook. And then Chet decides that, Shawn's been here for a year. that's more than enough time to have inherited Mr. Turner's TV, because teacher shouldn't be watching TV anyway.
Yep, teacher should not be watching TV.
And that is an episode of Boy Meets World.
It is.
So, Tyler, are you ready for some deep dives?
People. Am I the only one who read the summer reading list?
All right, so first and foremost, Reading PA. From downtown Philadelphia, it's about an hour and 14 minutes away. It's about 60 miles. So I don't know what other places do, but in Pennsylvania, we often will say things like, I live in Pittsburgh, I live in Philadelphia, I live in Erie, or Harrisburg, or State College. You know, typically it's one of these 4 locations, and the surrounding area is included in that. So say there's a time we said we live in Pittsburgh. We didn't physically have a Pittsburgh address, but we were, a spit away from Pittsburgh. Like, we literally could be there in seconds. So, like, we just knew that we would say to people, we live in Pittsburgh. So people from Reading, just because the people I've met from Reading would just say, I'm from Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. And then later on, they can get context of, oh, well, it's actually, Reading that I live in. Oh, okay, cool. But, yeah, I don't know what else to say besides, yes, it's 50 miles for the show. I wish we could have an exact location of where in Philadelphia suburbs they are in, but I don't know. Maybe we're getting a little closer now.
Well, if we can find a truck stop located in Reading, we can backtrack from there.
All right. So, Brett, seatbelts. Seatbelts are important. Seatbelts are required in Pennsylvania. So, seatbelts. Because on the Ferrari, when someone's sitting on your lap, clearly you both can't be wearing a seatbelt. That's why I'm bringing this up. Drivers must be wearing a seatbelt at all times under state law. They must also secure a child from birth to age 8 in an approved car seat or child passenger restraint system. Children under 2 must be rear-facing until the child exceeds the manufacturer's maximum height and weight limits. Drivers are also responsible for securing child's ages 4 to 8 in a seat-belted or seatbelt system and an appropriate fitting booster seat. Driving anyone between the ages of 8 to 18 must be wearing a seatbelt at all times. If the driver is under 18, he or she cannot operate a vehicle that has more passengers than it has seatbelts. So even in today's standard, there's a chance that was illegal because there's a chance he's not 18 just yet, although he could easily be 18, 19, honestly. People not wearing seatbelts who are passengers. If a driver does not secure a passenger between the ages of 8 and 18 in a seatbelt system in a vehicle, the penalty is $10 plus court fees. Failing to secure a child from 4 to 8 in a seatbelt system, appropriate fitting can result in $75 fine plus court fees and proof of a car seat purchase. Click It or Ticket is actually a really big campaign they did over I don't know, last 10 years, give or take, probably a little bit before that, of trying to encourage people to wear their seatbelts. And I had more statistics, but I'm not seeing it on here, so we'll just go with the ones we had. All right, so the basics of guardianship, Brett. Guardianship provides a safe net for children who cannot be cared for by their parent or adult who cannot care for themselves. Find out the requirements of the guardianship to be established as necessary court procedure. Guardianship is a person the legal right Guardianship gives a person legal right to care and make decisions for another person, usually a minor or adult who is unable to make decisions for themselves, such as elderly, disabled person, in addition to managing care. This is an individual known as a ward. A guardian also manages their finance. When the guardianship is of an adult, it sometimes can be called a conservatorship. Guardianship versus custody. Guardianship differs from custody in several ways. Custody only refers to a minor child, while guardianship can be of a child and or adult. When someone gets custody of a child, they obtain parental or grandparental rights. A guardian does not receive any parental rights and is simply appointed to care for the ward and the ward finances. When a guardianship of the child is established, the child's parents retain their parental rights. Custody can be canceled out parental rights and other or at least infringe on them. Okay, when guardianship is granted, guardianship of a child can be granted for the following situations. The child's parents consent to guardianship, the parents' rights are terminated, and a court determines that the child should be placed with a guardian. Okay, so I think one of the things that's important for this is the fact of mostly just the legal essence of Mr. Turner being responsible for him, being able to make decisions for him, but like it wouldn't seclude his parents from, if there's a problem or concern or worry, that they wouldn't still have a voice in that. He's not trying to full-blown adopt him and make him a Turner. He's just trying, the goal was, you know, for him to be a part of the family but not change his name and all that jazz. So which I do like. So, okay, so here are the requirements for scholarship, the academic requirements. So, you must graduate from high school. Very important. You must complete 16 NCAA approved core courses. You must complete 10 of those courses before your 7th semester, senior year, including 7 in English, math, or natural / physical science. Once you begin your 7th semester, you may not repeat or replace any of those 10 courses to improve your core score GPA. You must earn at least a 2.3 GPA in your courses that are outlined in NCAA academic requirements, and you must earn an SAT combined score or ACT sum score matching your core course GPA or the NCAA sliding scale for Division I, which balances your test score and your core score GPA. So, I think the main thing to take away from that listing is that if GPA doesn't go up for our friend, the bad jock, well, I'm blanking on his name right now, who cares? And if he doesn't complete, I'm assuming, the couple of classes, he is not going to be able to graduate to be able to go and play at the NCAA. I already talked about her. I don't want to talk about it again. So, posting bond or bail. There are many factors that will affect the bail amount. The severity of the crime is usually the largest factor that will impact the overall bail amount. The individual past criminal history is another factor that will affect how much the bail is set for. Additionally, the individual's family ties, age, and employment status will alter the bail price. Standard amount. Due to all the different factors, it can be difficult to list the specific amounts for each situation. In general, and Utah, local ordinance violations will have set bail as low as $25 to local ordinance infractions, or as high as $150 for a Class B offense. Bail prices for misdemeanors starts at $340 for a Class C offense, and can be as high as $1,950 for a Class A offense. Bail is much higher for felonies. Then for other crimes, they began at $5,000 for third-degree felonies, and it can go up to $25,000 for a first-degree felony. Ultimately, the court will set the amount for the bail. These are only general guidelines regarding the overall price of bail. These prices can fluctuate based on the wide variety of factors. The main point is that bail is something that can be a wide variety of prices, and probably one of the biggest things that contribute to this is, what is the offense he was picked up for? He was sleeping in a bench in a park. He is a minor, so that's endangerment. That's probably why he got picked up and taken in. The bail could be like $5, maybe $25, just so that way they can say, yes, we brought him in, and we're going to drop charges because he's a minor. Although, Shawn does have a rap sheet, so there's always a chance that he has a much more higher price line. Although, definitely Chet has a much higher bail than what Shawn was going to have.
Undoubtedly.
It was a very kind thing for Turner to post bail for him, because I'm assuming he had to pay the fine of all the parking tickets and also whatever it was to process and get him out. So, fun
That's
times.
a lot for a teacher.
It is. Yeah, he used to be loaded. It's fine.
Yeah.
And those are your deep dives, Brett.
All right. So let's talk about what we learned.
Yeah.
You know anything about the Odyssey? Huh? Did I say you could talk?
I didn't teach you that.
My friend Mr. Matthews will lead the discussion.
Do I have to draw you a picture?
Tyler, what did you learn from I Never Sang for My Legal Guardian?
I think one of the biggest things I learned is just to kind of echo Alan Matthews of, if it's my child, I would want to be consulted on their future. And it's not really a learning, it's just that re-emphasizing of, you are responsible for your child. Even if you give over guardianship, you still have a responsibility for your kid. And being a dad means that you have to be willing to have hard conversations and be willing to deal with your children's emotions and all of the things that come with it. And just kind of being a rock and saying, you may be emotional and you may be upset, but I'm not upset because I'm mostly worried and concerned about you. So yeah, it's just that re-emphasizing of, if you're a dad, you want an opinion on your child's life, even if you're not going to be physically there.
Yep. Well, I learned the boy needs his dad. Never underestimate that. Never underestimate the power of that relationship and that connection. Never ignore it. Never take it for granted, especially if you are a dad. Don't forget that your boys need you. Your daughters will need you too. But that connection with your son's going to be different.
Well, I heard the saying, I don't know where I heard it, but I heard it, but apparently mom and dads look at their sons differently. Mom will look at son and go, oh my gosh, look at my baby, look at my baby, look at what he's doing, my baby. And dads look at sons and go, my replacement. I must teach you all the things you need to know in order to provide and help and do the things that I am leaving for you to do. So I just find that interesting, that dynamic of, Amy the whole time is just trying to be supportive and, being sassy, of course, but Alan is very direct in saying, I want opinion. Mm-hmm. I'm sure Amy also wants an opinion, but Alan's the one that voices it.
Oh, I'm sure.
Next time we'll get more to their opinions, too.
Yeah.
I'm right.
No, you're exactly right.
So am I done with my education? Can I go?
How would you grade I Never Sang for My Legal Guardian?
Well, I'm putting aside the ick of the whole truck stop and the adults interacting with the teenagers the way that they did, because I'm accepting it's just part of that time period. I'm gonna go ahead and give this one an A+. It's not my most confident A+, but it's an A+.
I am there with you. The only stumbling block for it is that initial truck stop interaction there. But yeah, it's the strength of the episode is enough to power past that, and I'm going to give it an A+ as well.
Yeah, exactly. So this is a great end to a story that started last season. So showing that this show can do well when it comes to long-term stories.
Yes, there is
and also
some good continuity work.
Some. But also just the acting in this episode, especially from Ryder Strong, is just fantastic.
Oh yeah, he brings it.
Mm-hmm. And Topanga's acting a little bit like TL this episode.
Yeah. Would you like to step outside? I think I would like to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, before
Brett,
we sign off,
I believe you owe me a dad joke.
Yes, I do. So, I've got two for you.
Nice.
Some people have trouble sleeping, but I can do it with my eyes closed.
Very nice.
And, I got a hammer lodged in my esophagus, and the doctors can't remove it. They say it's the worst case of Thor throat they've ever seen.
Very nice.
Well, good-looking people.
That was an episode.
That was our episode. And our outro music is not working, so I'll have to drop it in later. And I thought I heard it, but hold on. Good-looking people, you can find us online at all of your normal haunts on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, X, TikTok, at dadsmeetworld. It's the same thing on all of them. You can send us an email at dadsmeetworld@gmail.com. Let us know how we're doing, or if you agree or disagree on our grades. You think we're too harsh or not harsh enough on some of these episodes. And, yeah. I can't think of anything else that,
Exactly.
Oh yeah, you can leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, and if you think we deserve
let's start with a 5-star review. Leave us a 5-star review. We'll read them on the air. Do it. You won't.
Because that's the easiest and most inexpensive way to help us reach more people that love Boy Meets World. That and sharing.
Spread the love.
Yeah, spread the love. Because we love you, and we'd love for you to share more of us so that we can love more people.
Yes.
That doesn't sound icky at all.
We want to spread the dad love.
Yes, let's spread the dad love together. I'm not making a shirt with that on it.
Well, Brett, I'll see you good looking.
I'll see you good looking.
Oh boy.
You know, how can I learn so much every week and still be so stupid?
Dads Meet World is a production of Headfirst Studios. Headfirst Studios, tell your story.